Previously, the enemy faced defeat in the battle, and currently, they are running away with their tails between their legs. The Grey Dog Commander, while riding on the horse, thinks that Avner's plan was good, but they didn't anticipate that the enemy would have a soldier so strong that it would defeat the giant. He couldn't understand if all of this was part of Marcus's scheme. Along with the commander, the captain of the Grey Doghound is also fleeing from the battle scene. He thinks that the same bastard is interfering again. He's talking about our protagonist here. He remembers the past battle he fought against him, and how every time, his plan was ruined. The captain clicks his tongue and thinks that they lost Mitch Hurrier to Encrid as well. Suddenly, the horse that the enemy captain was riding was hit by 3 swords. He does his best to swerve the horse, but the damage is already done. The horse falls down, taking the Grey Dog Commander along with him. The Grey Dog Captain calls out to him, asking if he's all right. Even after falling, the commander insists his men to keep running. He says that the Border Defense Force is quickly closing on them. The Border Defense Force charges forward on the horses, and the enemy stands there to defend their commander. The Border Defense Captain throws his weapon towards the Grey Dog Commander, and he has a tough time dealing with it. He gets on top of him and immobilizes him on the ground. The Grey Dog Commander looks at him dead in the eyes and calls out his name. The Norelia Commander says that they are evenly matched with the Grey Dogs, but they have already lost a lot of strength while attacking their rear post. The Grey Dog Commander looks behind him and sees his platoon getting killed. He too thinks that they lost too many soldiers along with Mitch Hurrier, and currently, they don't have enough power left to stop the Border Defense Force. The Grey Dog Captain runs forward on his horse and curses on losing the captain behind. A member of the Border Defense Force, Torres, quickly comes to the enemy captain's side and severs his head in one slash. The Grey Dog Commander looks at his captain's death and feels annoyed. He swings his sword and deflects the Norelia commander's weapon. He escapes from the chokehold and orders his men to retreat quickly. Torres asks his commander if they should pursue them. However, he tells him to leave the enemy. He further says that a hound that fails its mission gets abandoned, and as of now, they are nothing more than stray dogs without a leash. The enemy runs away while taking heavy casualties. By night, the Norelia army returns to the camp in bright mood after achieving an overwhelming victory in the battle. However, this was just a small skirmish, and a large fight with the main force is still waiting in the tall grass field. Inside the camp, Kreis packs his bag to shift the base camp. He tells Encrid that they will be moving their camp from tomorrow. They will be on standby near the cross guards to increase the pressure on Aspen. Encrid thinks that they won today, but there were no drinks or feasts to celebrate the victory. However, there was still a reward for the heroes of the day. Behind Encrid, Rem stretches out on the bed and relaxes. He says that they don't have to carry their gear from now on after being decorated as heroes today. All of this happened because he slayed the giant. Auden chimes in and says this happened because he cleaned up all the enemy soldiers. Ragna also chimes in and says he dealt with mercenaries who were high on bloodlust. If he had left them unchecked, then the outcome would have been fatal. Rem gets annoyed with their bickering and asks if all of them are dying to brag their achievements here. It's his turn, and they shouldn't butt in. Jackson looks at his squad members and says they will always remain idiots. Encrid speaks up and tells them to stop this nonsense. He further says that if they want to fight, then they should spar with him instead. Damn, our MC is not letting a chance to fight slip out of his hand. Kreis also thinks that their squad leader never misses such opportunities. Andrew the Virgin also thinks that this was the first time for him. The thrill, the madness, the rush, and the echoing of the battlefield energized him. Rem chuckles and asks if he was moved by something so trivial like this. If that is the case, then he still has a long way to go. He teases him as never done it, madman. This insult annoys Andrew, and he tells Rem to stop teasing him like this. Rem asks if he's tough enough to talk back to his boss. Does he need another round of beating? Encrid ignores their BS and thinks they are always like this. He looks at a soldier packing stuff in front. Judging by his face, he looks quite serious. Encrid comes to the soldier and sits beside him. Enry asks the squad leader about what he's doing here. Encrid gets straight to the point and asks what he's thinking about. He asks Enry if he's thinking about the widow at the flower shop. Enry blushes and says, kind of. Encrid thinks about Enry from what he has heard so far. Enry's dream is to marry the flower shop widow. But as long as he remains on the battlefield, his dream won't come true. Encrid asks him if he wishes to go back. Enry says he kind of wants to go back. But how is he supposed to go back alone when everyone else is fighting here? Encred thinks that Enry is a skilled soldier. His hunting skills have gotten them out of tight spots more than once. When they escaped the tall grass fields, it was thanks to Enry's guidance. On top of that, he warned them about the vipers living under the stone near the crossguards. Thanks to that, they were able to create confusion among the enemy. Not only that, Enry is good with a bow too, so he's a valuable asset to the army. Encred starts leaving, and Enry asks where he's going. Encred remains deep in his thoughts, and thinks that he carries the sword because he has a dream. He knows very well that Enry also wants to achieve his own dreams. Encred leaves without saying anything, and this leaves Enry a bit confused. The next day, Enry, a soldier of the 4th Company Independent Squad, gets called by the ferry commander. She grants him a special discharge. She further explains that he'll be riding with the wounded in the wagon that will depart from here soon. Enry remains puzzled and asks if he's hearing it wrong. He apologizes to the commander and asks if she could say that again. The ferry commander asks if he didn't hear about it. His squad leader requested for his discharge. After getting the discharge, Enry packs his bow and stuff in the bag. He takes all of his useful stuff and begins leaving. Rem wakes up from his sleep and asks if he's leaving. Auden also prays to the Lord and wishes him blessings on his path. However, Ragna envies Enry and says he would be able to sleep comfortably at night from now on. Kreis also chimes in and says that he had a rough time while being surrounded by these lunatics all the time. On hearing the insult, Rem asks Kreis if he wants a beating in the morning. Andrew gives farewell to Enry and tells him to take care. Enry looks at them with a warm smile and the memories they have made so far. After getting out of the camp, Enry meets the squad leader. Encred's face shows seriousness, and Enry asks if there's something wrong. Encred thinks that unlike Andrew and Mac, who fit well in the squad, Enry always felt out of the place. It was even worse since he wasn't suited for the battlefield in the first place. Encred places his hand on Enry and with a warm smile wishes him luck in succeeding in his confession. Enry feels delighted upon hearing the words and bows in respect. He thanks Encred for everything he has done until now. Soon enough, Enry sets out with the wounded soldiers back to the capital. Encred looks at him leaving and feels happy for him. The ferry commander approaches Encred and asks if he sent Enry on a good note. Encred approaches her and says all of this was possible thanks to accepting his request. The ferry commander replies that this was a small favor from her fiancé, so this was the least she could do. Suddenly the ferry commander asks about when they should have their engagement ceremony. Encred replies that 10 years from now will be a good time. The ferry commander walks away and says that 10 years isn't bad, but she prefers a partner that is young and not old. Encred asks if she's talking about her preference here. Then he'll tell his preference as well. He tells her that fairies have never been his type. This statement from Encred makes the ferry commander dead serious, and she looks at him. She asks if isn't he hurting her feelings by saying that. Encred becomes even more serious, and like an ultra-gigachad, says that her feelings aren't hurt at all, isn't it? The ferry commander clicks her tongue and says, whatever. She orders Encred to come with her for a second before he returns. She says that the battalion commander wants to see him. The battalion commander sips his coffee and thinks deeply about Encred's team achievement in the recent battle.